subscribe.
Okay, what is going on, people? We are back with another episode helping athletes, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, and weekend warriors understand exercise and how to get to their results in a safe and efficient manner. Last week we talked about myofascial release. What is it, why it's important, and when to do it. We started off in the feet, we worked up into the hips and ended up in the mid-back, the T-spine. And today we'll start off with the lats, get up into the shoulders, into the pec, and the neck, and this will be useful for those who have stiff necks, stiff lower backs. Yes. And Antonio will take it from there.
Yes. So if you're having any back pain, back tightness, any shoulder pain or tightness, even any neck pain or tightness, this stretch is for you. So what he's going to do, we're going to use a foam roll, a nice long one. It doesn't matter what you're going to use. We're going to lay on that side because we're going to stretch out his left lat. Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can stretch out the lat with the foam roll. We can have him roll up and down. So he's going to roll up and down. And this is kind of just scanning for any hot spots. So just kind of seeing where he's feeling some of the tension. He's going to come up all the way down. You can even bring your arm lower. You know, you can keep it at different angles and then go up and down as well. Good.
What do you mean by hot spots?
So hot spots meaning any areas that feel like increased tension. Any area that might feel like there's like a bump in the road where you're kind of scanning the area and all of a sudden there's like a little divot. Right? And that's the areas that you kind of want to focus on. That can be what's called a trigger point, or it can be just an area that is localized to increased tension, which that's an area that you might want to kind of focus on so that it can take pressure off the neck, for example, or take pressure off the shoulder. So that's one thing, scanning. The second one we can do is, say he found a hot spot right there. Great. That's where he's getting a lot of tension. What he can do now is move the shoulder or kind of slide it down, up and down, just like that. So that he's going into what's called internal rotation and then external rotation. Now we know the lat muscle is an internal rotator of the shoulder. So as he's going that way, he might want to hold it there, hold it. Breathe in through the nose, exhale, blow out, keep that core tight, try to externally rotate a little more, hold it there. Good, so he's just kind of stretching out that lat on that side. And now he's going to come back in. So you're going to put your arm flat on the floor and just kind of extend it out straight. Good, and now what you're going to do is kind of like a snowman or a snow angel, and you're going to slide up and down. So again, he's found this hot spot, and now he's kind of pinning it with the foam roll that's underneath it, and he's stretching out while the foam is not moving like it was with the scanning technique. This is more of a pin and stretch technique.
Now, are you doing this on both sides?
I do it on both sides. Yeah, I'll loosen up, especially if I'm doing like a shoulder workout or I'm doing chest or some sort of back day or whatever you're going to do. Even if you're going to go for a run, just loosening up the shoulders, loosening up the back will help take pressure off those areas. So I would do both sides.
Okay. Does this do anything for the neck pains if I had some neck pains?
Yeah, so what the lat muscle is a big muscle. It goes from the shoulder all the way to the lower back. Now if the lats get super tight, it can kind of put a little pressure on the shoulders, roll them forward a little bit, and might contribute to a little forward neck position, which might give you some pressure up here. So by stretching this out and decreasing that tension, we're able to now loosen up the lats so I get great overhead mobility and less pressure on my neck. The lats, they do this. They extend the shoulder. So if my lats are tight, I'm going to have limited shoulder mobility. So you want to loosen up the lats in order to get upright, especially if you're going to do any overhead activity. This activity is for you. And yeah, I do maybe like 2 sets of 1 or 2 minutes. I don't spend a crazy amount of time here. This isn't like your whole workout. You're here maybe 2 minutes each side. You give it a little some attention there, and then now it's time to kind of strengthen after that point. But
okay, sounds good. So with that said, we've hit the lats, and now we're going to work up into the shoulders and the neck. Take a quick pause.
Cool.
What is going on, people? So we are back. Little set change. Antonio, we are working now from the lat up into the...
Yes. So now into the shoulder. So the shoulder obviously is designed for a lot of mobility. Sometimes the back of the shoulder can get tight from all the exercise that we're doing, a lot of the rowing and a lot of the pull downs. This area can kind of be an area that limits the shoulder in certain motions that we need to loosen up. So If you have any tightness in the shoulder, any pain in the neck, this one is for you. What we're going to do is take the lacrosse ball. You're going to put it in the back of the shoulder. I'm going to hold my hand underneath the elbow. And I'm going to kind of, again, I'm scanning. So again, we're going to do the two techniques we talked about. We're going to scan first for any hot spots. Back and forth, just feeling it. And then what I can do is once I find, like right now, right there is a hot spot for me, I'm going to kind of pin it back, just make sure that doesn't move. And I'm just going to move my shoulder across into horizontal adduction or just a cross arm stretch. And I'm going to hold that for about 30 seconds, 3 times. So that's one stretch or one technique we can do for the, it's called the posterior capsule stretch or the back of the shoulder.
You're holding it for 30 seconds per hot spot?
Per hot spot, yeah, with moving this across.
Okay.
What we can also do with this is now work into the upper trap. So I can now come over here. And I'm going to kind of go back and forth. Again, any hot spots, I'm just kind of scanning back and forth for that. I can move my neck with it. I can bend my neck to the side. I can find a hot spot, pin it back into the wall, and bend my neck to the left to get more of a stretch. I could rotate as well. So with that, I'm working on loosening up the upper traps, which take pressure off the neck as well. In this area, we can also work on the pec. So the pec is our chest muscle. You're gonna work on that to loosen that up, especially before you're doing any shoulder, any overhead, any sort of even rowing activities. We want to definitely loosen that up before we get into that. So this is what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna put the ball here, and again, it's the same thing. There's scanning technique, and then there's the pin and stretch. So we're gonna work on that. So I'm just kind of scanning just to see if there's any hot spots. Going back and forth. Now you don't want to go on the sternum, which is the bone in the center. You want to just kind of stay just to the side of that.
Does it help if you were to do it onto the floor? Have some gravitational pressure on top
That
of
might
you?
be a little much, especially with such, this is so specific, it could get a little bit intense.
Okay.
But against the wall, you know, lacrosse ball, if maybe you had the foam roll on the pec, but it's a little awkward to kind of maneuver into it. That's why on the wall it's a little bit better. Just grab a little ball and get into that.
Okay.
So scanning is one area that we can get into, back and forth, moving around there. And the other area is I'm going to kind of pin it down into an area I feel tight, and then I'm going to move my arm up, overhead, and then back down. So I'm pinning it down, and then I'm stretching out my pec as I go overhead. And then I could even go out to the side, go into the opposite position that the shoulders work. So the pec works with horizontal adduction, or bringing your arms across. So what we can do is pin it there and move my arm out.
Beautiful. Are you also only doing this if you have a stiff neck, or are you doing this pre-exercise before you work out? Would you work into these areas as well?
So I could do it for both.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, even with pain in the neck or any stiffness in the neck, again, we get that the pecs to be kind of rolled forward. Any tightness in here can kind of cause issue in the neck. So when we have that forward posture and we're kind of on the computer all the time, we get a lot of tightness in the chest.
Yes.
So this will definitely help open that up, which might then allow, you know, my neck to get out of this and more into this position and open up my body instead of being all closed up, which can cause that pressure in the neck.
Yes, sir. And you're doing this post-workout as well?
I'm mostly doing it prior to working
to?
out, yeah, just to loosen up and get ready for that, but not really too much after.
Okay, so let's say if I'm sitting down 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day, I'm on the computer, I'm hunched over, maybe I'm reading a lot, I'm continuously typing. I'm spending more time in that position than I am working on these things. Should I be, but let's say if I'm also doing my myofascial release on my chest, on my traps, on my lats, but I'm sitting down 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, how much time would you suggest that a person do their myofascial release in order to alleviate their pains at home if they were doing it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say I would start with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Like at least start with the 3 times.
Yeah.
I tell my patients to do the chin tucks. I tell them to do that 10 times every hour. That they're working, you know, just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I know it's tough throughout the work day, and you might not get every hour to get up and do this. But every hour at work, I'm sure you can sit there and do 10 of these, you know, once every hour. So with the lacrosse ball, I'll have them do it 3 times within their workday, so that they can just break it up, and they're not there every hour, but at least 3 times throughout their workday they can get into that position and stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's essential because a lot of times people, you hear people and see people in the gym, they think that they go to the PT once, they go to the gym once, and that day is going to fix all their issues. But as you can hear here, that it's more than just that one day. It's more that one time. It's a consistent effort in order for you to alleviate all your aches and pains, and it's a daily thing.
Yeah, that's what we see. It's consistency and longevity. Those are like the 2 factors for better outcomes, for health outcomes, for just having a complete kind of outlook on it.
Yeah. Also, there was that one stretch that we can't really have a great angle, but I think you guys can get an idea of working into the upper trap where you're falling forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm here,
yeah,
and that's why you're not going to be able to see it, but the ball is pretty much going to go at the top of my trap, but it's going to be on this side because we can't see it here. So I'm going to be here, and now I'm pinning down an area that I feel is tight. And then I'm going to work into left side bending. So bringing my left ear to my left shoulder, stretching out the right side. And that's a great stretch just to open up the neck there. If you see it on this side, it would just be kind of like the wall's pushing into my upper trap, my head's down, my chest is down.
I'll be the wall.
And now I'm going to work to the left like that. Just like that.
Okay, so now we worked on the myofascial release. Do you have any stretches that they can do at home to help break up that stiff neck?
Yeah.
They just did this. What else could you
Absolutely.
recommend?
So one thing we can do here is just kind of getting against the wall, working on our chin tucks. So getting out of kind of this position, working on, a closed mouth, breathing through the nose.
Perfect.
And just working on feeling it. So it's one thing just to do it, but we want sensory competency, which means do we feel what we need to feel?
I love that word.
You have to be sensory competent, right?
Yes,
you can't
sir.
just do things and not feel it. So
Yes, sir.
when I'm doing it, I sense my flexors in my neck, working. So that's a good one to do. You keep your arms open and kind of do some wall angels too, just to break up your posture as well against the wall. Just, sitting here with your chin tucked, breathing. Exhale. As you exhale too, you want to focus on bringing that rib cage down. Reinforce it with the exhale. Chin tucked. Keeping my core tight, exhaling. And just sliding up and down. So that's, I would say like that, those are kind of just easy go-tos that you can just kind of do throughout the day.
What about heat, ice? What do you recommend at the end of the day or after their workout, after work? What do you recommend on the neck? Heat
I would
ice?
say if it's painful, if you're having any pain, I would probably do some ice, just like localized to the area that might be tender or painful. If it's more stiff dominant and it's just stiffness at the end, the heat could be a better option for that.
Okay.
But overall, I think, in the long term, it's going to be movement. It's going to be doing these, like you might not get in the first 6 months. Seriously, you might not. You got to just keep kind of hitting the hammer on with the nail, like kind of consistently and for a long period of time until you start to remind your body on how to settle things in. Especially a lot of people watching, maybe you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, maybe you're in your 40s, right? You have habits that you built out since you were, a little kid, and to think that, oh, I do this, for 2 months and it's going to help me. You're going to need a lot more time, a lot more consistent effort until you start seeing your body change.
Yes, sir.
So don't give up if you're not feeling any difference in the first 3-4 months. Like doing this consistently it's a habit change. It's a lifestyle change. It's being more aware of it. It's doing it for a longer period of time until you can make that difference.
Yes, sir. And also, just so the people are aware, this is just the myofascial release with a little bit of stretching. And after this, you would get into some strengthening.
Yeah,
right?
that's
so now you
absolutely
can support the whole structure.
And that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
This is just one piece of the pie. This is really just like we talked about. We want to start with it's the SMASH acronym, right? It's start with a little sweat, whatever. Maybe it's just heat. If you really haven't moved in a few months, a few years, and you just need to start with heat, great. Maybe you're past that and you could do a little bike as a warm-up or whatever. Maybe you're walking back and forth. Walking is a warm-up. Great. You did the S part. Now the M is what we've been doing. Little mobilization with the lacrosse ball, little massage, little maybe manual therapy that we provide. Maybe it's a couple hip stretches. It's mobility, M, right? Mobility, mobilization, massage, something like that. And that's what we've been doing today. The next step would be A, would be activate, right?
Yeah.
So SMA, the activate is where we would be on to next, because it doesn't end here, right? It doesn't end with just a nice massage and then that's it, right? You got to start reintroducing some of those movement patterns so your body can now make permanent, lasting changes. And that's where we have to rewrite the script. A lot of the time we just want to get the massage and we want to just do the things that kind of feel nice and, you know, and then stop it there. But if we don't kind of emphasize or re-educate the brain and the body to kind of strengthen up and move in those patterns, we're going to be walking down the same path, and it's going to be kind of, you know, the same issues that might arise again and again and again, unless we strengthen and, you know, work on the movement drills that we're going to want to do following these things.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was well said. And so if you haven't seen the episode last week, we talked about myofascial release. He broke down what it is, why it's important, when to do it. And today, and also last week, we started from the feet into the hips, into the T-spine. And now today we got up into the lats, the traps, got into the shoulder, a little bit of the neck. So we pretty much gave you a full overall how to release your body. Next week, we'll also provide you with, I believe, some stretches, and I think to start off with some activation. So if you haven't seen last week, go there, and then this
Actually, got one more thing to
close
show
it all
you.
out. Yeah.
With the lacrosse ball, I didn't go through this, but we build a lot of tension up in the upper traps. I mean, the upper it's the suboccipital area. So this area is super important to kind of release, especially if you're having those tension headaches. And any kind of radiating signs into like the eyes or the head.
Around to the top.
Yeah, it can come around to the top of the head. This is a great one too. So you can take a lacrosse ball and you can legit just kind of put it right there, right?
Yes.
And now I'm just going to go up and down, scanning just for any areas. Obviously my area is a little bit higher, and then in that area I could rotate right. I could do some chin tucks.
Stay off the spine.
Yeah, you just stay on the muscle. You know, rotation. I could hold it there and go to my left side as well. And you're just kind of feeling it out, doing the scanning and doing the pin and stretch as well. So that's also a big one that we didn't hit, but you definitely want to get in on those just to alleviate some of the stress up in the neck.
Sweet deal. Yes, he has covered everything. Everything that was absolutely perfect. I hope if you are listening at home, take heed. Put in your work, take your time, be patient with yourself, be patient with your body, take care of it, and be consistent. With that said, follow Antonio over at...
at the Boxing Doc on Instagram, or ProMetPT on our Instagram account. Feel free to DM us. We have a whole bunch of videos coming your way.
Yes, sir. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe.